Hey everybody, Matt with Freestand here. Got a special guest on the show today, Maddison Rotner. Just arrived in New York. She's been out in LA for the last year, but she has a virtual fitness company. It's called Maddison Rotner. So train with Maddison Rotner. But thank you for coming on. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Of course. So yeah, we're just gonna go over like the basic stuff
Awesome.
about Maddison Rotner and what you do. So we'll hop right into it. So tell me
Let's
a
do
little
it.
bit about like the founding story behind it, how you got started, and everything like that, and what you do.
Amazing. Okay, so my name is Maddison Rotner. It's Madison with two D's. I feel like since inception, people have been spelling my name wrong, but like I always clarify it at the beginning of everything. Um, and kind of how I got into the fitness world is a very interesting story, and I'll try and make it as short and sweet as possible. But I have launched and created my own on-demand virtual fitness platform where I teach live classes as well as have a library of a range of modalities stemming from a little bit more functional movement, HIIT, cardio, to more slower moving, weight training type movements. So it's kind of a plethora of different opportunities. But I teach two major live class formats, which I call my banded burn, which is a little bit slower, lower impact, and my full body blast, which is a functional fitness movement class kind of based by circuits and is a full body blast. It's exactly how it sounds. But I kind of came into the fitness world in a very strange trajectory, and I'm sure we'll talk a bit more about it, in your later on questions. But I grew up in Los Angeles, born and raised there, and I was a performer my entire life. The goal, the dream was always to be on Broadway. It's very much my identity. The second anyone sees me talk, I use my hands like crazy, and they're like, "Oh, the theater girl, this makes so much sense." But growing up, I was in all of the arts. So I was, a singer first and foremost. That's where I identify, an actress, of course. But I was a competitive dancer my whole life, and was as a young girl, in the studio for 30 to 40 hours a week, and it
Wow.
consumed like my whole life. And when I decided to stop competing, and this is a segue into, I guess, college, I like found a new way of fitness and movement, and needed to kind of find a way to move my body in a way that felt functional and important. And I kind of fell into the Los Angeles fitness scene in that way and started taking more classes when I stopped competing. And I'll talk about my family a lot, I'm sure, in this, because they're the most important people in my life and I'm obsessed with them. But we decided at a young age not to do the musical theater route in college. So because of that, I was like, what can I study that makes sense? And I went to the University of Michigan, and I was in the School of Kinesiology, which is the study of the human body and the way it moves in space. And so I kind of primed myself for 4 years.
I was gonna say that's a fitting degree.
Yeah, right. A very fitting degree. And I really pride myself on my credentials because I don't know, I love to know that I know what I'm
Well,
talking about.
most trainers don't have those credentials. So
Yes, exactly.
yeah.
So anyway, the long story long is that I got into fitness based on my love of dance and movement, and that translated into my college degree. And then it kind of turned into, I moved to New York to pursue musical theater, and was like, okay, well, what's the most conventionally unconventional thing I can do as an actress? It would be a waitress. What's the next thing I can do? Oh, I'll use my degree and I'll teach fitness. So I fell into the New York City fitness scene and taught at a lot of boutique studios in Manhattan, and then ultimately created my own concept.
That's awesome. So when you're teaching at these boutique studios, are these your classes, or are you like stepping in as like a guest instructor for like a bigger
No.
company?
So my specific class formats didn't really come around until quarantine, until I was kind of forced to find a way to continue to have my community and through movement. But prior to the pandemic, I was teaching at SLT, which is a Legree studio in Manhattan, as well as Box and Flow, which was a boxing and yoga studio in Manhattan, and Soul Cycle, which I'm sure a lot of people are familiar with.
Yeah.
And so I'm a Soul Cycle instructor, and
Oh, that's
I
awesome.
love that with my heart and soul, no pun intended.
Yeah. What
But
was what was
um,
that? What was that like? Talk to me about that.
so I had a
Because
really interesting experience. I mean, I was a Soul Cycle consumer before I became an instructor. And I when I auditioned, it really wasn't even in my head to be an instructor in any capacity. I had already been teaching in the New York City fitness scene for 2 years, and the opportunity kind of fell into my lap, and I was like, I'll do it for fun. And the second I auditioned and they turned the microphone on, I was like, oh, this is it. Like,
Yeah.
this was it. So for the 8 weeks prior to March 12th, I feel like the day we all know and love in the COVID world, I was training to be a SoulCycle instructor, and I was one of 23 people going through training, and it was people from Canada and the UK and all across the country, and it was a really intensive 7-week period, and I had taught my first 3 classes, my final one being March 12th, and then the pandemic shut everything down. So it
Damn.
kind of came to a crashing halt very quickly.
Yeah. Wait, so your first class was on the 12th?
My third class.
Oh, your third class. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So you did some others before that, though.
Yes, exactly. I got a little bit out of it.
All right, cool. No, because that just seems like such a crazy environment, like in a good way.
Yeah.
Like when I watch same thing with Peloton, like any of the spin stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It just like I've never done SoulCycle, but I've done Peloton, and like in order to be one of those instructors, you have to come with so much energy.
1000%.
Yeah. So
energy is my middle name. I swear, the best compliment anyone can give me is like, you have such good energy, and I'm like, tell me more.
All right, so the 12th, you do your third class with SoulCycle. Obviously, everything gets shut down.
Yes.
You're like, okay, I gotta do something here. I gotta take what I've been doing in person and do some virtual copy of this.
Yes.
Right. So what does that look like? Talk to me about like starting that and kind of that whole process of like finding customers, making a website, everything.
Totally. Well, that's the really interesting thing. As well as everyone else, we thought this was going to be 2 weeks, right? And I'm sure everyone is sick and tired of hearing about, the last year. But for me, it was really transformative and recognizing, I guess, the power and the privilege to be able to create my own brand under my own name with my own community. And so I, in the beginning, and really for the first few months, was like, this is going to be over soon. Like, last spring, I was like, by summer, I'll absolutely be back in the studios. I'll be at SoulCycle. I'll be teaching again, blah, blah, blah. And so it wasn't until last summer where I realized, oh, I need to, really start teaching my live classes consistently. I need to kind of transform my social media really to just strictly my fitness brand. And last summer, I really pivoted and started teaching more consistently. I created my website, and my website, MaddisonRotner.com, was predominantly my acting resume. It was my reels. It was my performance material, because I moved to New York initially to pursue that career in theater. And so I kind of, wiped that website. It's not gone. It's just under a different name, and really established Maddison Rotner as my own fitness company, I guess, and class. So I created my own website, and I'm very stubborn, so I did it all by myself and worked really hard to just kind of like find, again, and it sounds so silly since it's my name, but like find my own brand and like what colors worked for me, and just kind of how to differentiate myself in a wildly oversaturated market. And ultimately create a community that, of course, is about movement, but so much more about feeling than anything aesthetic or any goal and result that way. And while that's incredible, as a performer, my ethos was to make people feel, and that very much translated in my mission, I guess, as a fitness professional.
Yeah, I was gonna say that is just like the most important thing, right? Because like somebody could run like a class where you might like burn the same amount of calories or whatever, do the same workouts. But I feel like what the customers really come for at the end of the day is just like that person and like your personality
1000%.
and your energy. And so I know like Savannah Freed connected us.
Yes.
And she's somebody like yourself who has really, really good energy.
Yeah, thank you.
And
she's the best.
Yeah, but that's what customers come to at the end of the day. So it's like, it is really saturated, but I think the only way that you can kind of separate yourself is through being yourself, right? Like,
1000%.
Yeah.
And it's
Um,
interesting that you say it like that, just because I mean, what I've recognized is while people love and gravitate towards certain modalities, ultimately people really do follow the instructor and they follow the person behind the microphone more than anything else.
yeah, definitely. Um, all right, so moving forward. So wait, when did you create the website again? Was that was in the summer?
So I created it in the summer as kind of like a sub bracket of my website, of my personal website. And then I took a real hard relaunch in January to like completely strip away the theater component and make that its entirely new website, and then rebranded and relaunched Maddison Rotner as its
As
own
the
solid
fitness thing.
entity.
Okay, got it. So you launch as Maddison Rotner, kind of like do this rebranding thing.
Hmm.
How are you like? Well, I guess my first question is, when did you get your first customer? Because I know you were kind of doing it like on and off in March, right? And then it got more
Right.
serious in June, and then even more
Hmm.
serious in January, right?
Correct. That seems
So
like the timeline.
yeah. But so talk to me about like finding customers, like how you got your first one. Was it like friends and family? Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good question. So I started teaching classes and just kind of promoting on my socials, where I had very much, I guess, like the people who followed me on any sort of social it was a really big blend of people I had known since high school, college, those years, as well as people that were clients in the New York City fitness world, because I had been teaching for almost 2 years in this
Yeah.
boutique fitness space. So when I announced, like, hey, would you guys be open to classes? People were like, yes. So I was doing free classes for solid 6 months, really, donation based, do what you can.
That's
Again,
great.
the idea was always about getting people to move, because for me, like, that was my saving grace in these crazy times, was just like the shifting the perspective from having to do things to getting to do things. So that's kind of how I started getting my my people coming to take classes, and then word of mouth, and then um, working with certain brands that just got me more visibility, and it kind of was a snowball effect of it, and really just word of mouth more than anything else.
Yeah. I think that's like the most important thing is word.
Hmm.
Yeah. Like it's one thing when you see like an ad for something, but like when your friend tells you like I took this class and it was amazing,
Exactly.
that's like you're gonna listen to your friends, you're gonna listen to
Totally.
your family. Um, so in terms of what like the types of clients, I know when I was speaking to Savannah, she told me that it's mostly women that take her classes.
Hmm.
Is that the same for you?
I'd say it's mostly women, but I definitely have men who take my class. Since it is, more functional fitness, so to
Mhm.
speak, everything, all of the movement is really purposeful. And so I recommend the class to be, light weights or even body weight. If someone is, wants to bring crazy dumbbells and do the workout, they can do it, and they can have, if they have access to that. So I've been trying to make the class as open um, to everyone as it can be. But my full body blast is definitely more um, male and female, and my band and burn is a bit more female, I'd say.
Okay. Wait, and what were the two types? It was band and burn, and then
Yeah, and full body blast.
full body blast. Okay, so band and burn, I'm assuming is using bands.
Yes, it's using bands, low
Okay.
impact, slow, lightweight. It's just like a lot more. It's hard. It's hard to tell. I'm not gonna
Yeah,
lie,
gotcha.
but a
You
little
have
bit
to
more
take the
low
class.
impact.
Yeah,
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 exactly. You have to take the class. You'll know what I mean. And then
yeah.
full body blast is exactly how it sounds. It's like I have
Hit.
30-minute formats and 45-minute formats, and it's just circuit work, hit, very much. You're getting your bang for your buck.
Gotcha. Okay. And do you do private lessons as well, or is it group lessons? How does that work?
Yeah, so I definitely do privates. I have been a personal trainer for now, and I'm so young, so it seems so funny to say this, but I've been a personal trainer for 6 years now,
Wow.
and have great clients. I got my personal training certificate in
Certificate.
college, um, because I basically like took a class in my curriculum, thank you, University of Michigan, that primed me for the exam. So I got that at the end of my sophomore year of college, I think, or middle of sophomore year of
Oh, that's awesome.
college.
You just did it while
Yeah,
you were at school?
Yeah, I did it at school, and
That's
I've been
perfect.
doing the continuing learning education, and I have, you know, more certificates that I've worked towards prior besides my boutique fitness like training. You know, Soul Cycle is very specific. The Legree method, SLT, I teach, it's very specific. You get your own certification in those things.
Mhm.
But, you know, like I'm pre and postnatal certified, so I specialize in moms and moms to be for more private training sessions and things of that nature. But I have an amazing group of personal clientele, but I love the group fitness experience.
Yeah, I feel like that's the best because you feed off everyone else, you know?
Yeah, exactly. And energy is everything.
Yeah. And how many people are in the classes usually? And how many times a week are they? They're
So I'm
two or three
teaching
times a week?
three, yeah, three times a week right now. That's my schedule. It's pretty consistent Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And you know, the hardest thing I would say is consistency because the incredible thing about the virtual fitness experience is being able to, you know, reach a wider net of people from all over the world, which is incredible. But with that, you know, there's scheduling and all these things, but I'd say there's probably around 10 to 15 people per class. And you know, while I would love to be teaching to hundreds of people and feeding off of these incredible communities, I think something that's really cool with this, like, you know, smaller, more condensed number is like the personal attention and experience. Because like I love nothing more, and you can have your camera off, it doesn't matter. And even if your camera's off, I'll still call out your name
Yeah.
because there's nothing I love more than being in a class and then being like, hell yeah, Madison. And I'm like, that's me.
Yeah, when you get your name called out, you never feel better.
I literally feel like a national celebrity.
Yeah, 100%. And wait, so you said cameras are off sometimes. Do a lot of people turn the cameras off, or is it
I say
random?
most people have their cameras on, to be honest. And it's funny because, you know, since I've been trying to really stick to this consistent schedule, it's like the same people show up for Mondays, the same for Wednesdays, and they've kind of like created their own little friendships, communities, partnerships, bonds, and they're like couldn't
They've
be more
never met each
polar
other.
opposite. Exactly, never met each other, couldn't be more polar opposite humans and like completely different walks of life, and that's the incredible thing about fitness, the arts, all of those things is that
Yeah,
it allows people to come together.
yeah. That is crazy. Like that
Yeah.
they have like their own like digital friendships.
Right.
Yeah, that's
And
like
I have them myself too, because I think that, you know, every teacher has a teacher, every coach has a coach. And so
sure.
like I'm a big proponent of taking other people's classes. You learn so much, but like I have like the people that I take classes with, and I have the bonds and friendships I've made virtually over this, especially last year. But it's a really cool thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, all right. Well, I think we covered mostly everything. The
Yeah.
last thing I want to ask is, and this is the final question that I ask everybody, for somebody who's listening, who's like interested in getting into fitness, starting virtual
Hmm.
fitness. Oh, actually, no. Hold on. I have one
Hold
question.
on.
Hold on. I have one question before. Um, okay. It's 8 months down the line.
Mm.
Studios open up. What's your plan? Do you plan on continuing to do the virtual thing? Do you go back to studios? Do you do a
Hmm.
hybrid model? What are you thinking?
Definitely a hybrid model. That's the goal. I want to work with everyone's comfort zone. And I think that accessibility is something that I practice and preach. I never want someone to feel intimidated by my class. So if that means showing up one time with the camera off and getting comfortable, amazing. If that means showing up in person and feeding off of everyone else, incredible, even better. And I hope to foster a community big enough where like I can have these in-person classes, and just continue to broaden that. But I'll definitely keep the online platform because I think that's here to stay, and hopefully be able to bring it in person
Yeah.
sometime soon.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens because I know people are obviously like antsy to get out and
Mm-hmm.
like myself, like, I honestly would love to go and do a workout in a gym also.
Totally.
But yeah, it's interesting because like there are these really great components of it, like
Mm-hmm.
rolling out of bed, like, saving 2 hours of your day, rolling out of
Totally.
bed, doing a workout, and then starting to work, as opposed to like getting up at 6, going to the gym, showering,
Absolutely.
going home. So yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. I know like I've spoken to a decent amount of people who are running virtual fitness, and most of them say they want to do hybrid. So
Mm-hmm.
I guess,
That's what the trajectory is looking like. My friends are saying the same thing in the field, and I think that's what it's going to look like.
yeah, we'll just have to wait and
I
see.
know.
All right. Final question
Here
is,
we are.
here we are. We're going to bring it home. Somebody's listening. They want to get into fitness. They want to start a virtual fitness company, maybe do something in the studio. I don't know. They want to run their own show in fitness. Do you have any recommendations for them?
Yes. Wow, I do. The first thing is, and you brushed on this earlier, but it is so important to put the time, effort, money, sweat, tears into an investment really in just knowing what you're talking about. Like, learn about the body, make everything purposeful, intentional. Of course, the idea is to like have fun and get people moving. And like, again, that's what I practice and preach more than anything else. But I want people to do it safely. So, put in the time and like take classes, see what you like, see what you don't like, see, and just like allow yourself to be uncomfortable a bit. I think the number one thing is, and kind of in life, you can apply to everything. You kind of need to seek discomfort, because once you push yourself to do something you don't think you're capable of and surprise yourself when you do, like that's the biggest reward you can possibly have. I just got the chills, but but that's really, I think, what it's about. Like, put in the time to educate yourself before anything, and with that, you'll feel comfortable in guiding people.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's amazing advice, especially in fitness, because there's
Mm-hmm.
so much crap out there. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah. So very cool. All right,
Very
Maddison,
cool.
thank you. I appreciate you coming
Thank
on,
you. I appreciate you having me.
of course. And maybe down the line in like 4 or 5 months, 6 months, when stuff starts to change a little bit more, we can have you back on, talk again.
Yes. Well, we'll talk in summer. We'll see how it's shifted.
Perfect. All right. We'll see if our predictions are true.
Exactly.
All righty. Thank you, everybody. Maddison, thank you.
Thank you.